Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from fabulous Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably the best you ever have as well. Check out those half-pound jumbo Wagyu burgers as well. Mercy, USDA Prime, the best of the best, folks. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! And a big welcome in, everybody listening in on all of our affiliates, radio and television. Everybody streaming on social media. Big hello to our friends on Chicago Food Favorites over on Facebook. Check that out, folks. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, as well as everybody in hotels watching on Hotel TV and Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, and WOW Cable Television affiliates across these United States of America. All right. Of course, having the first week of college football was fun. How about the second week of college football? You know, there's a scoreboard. There are the rankings. There are games that made you scratch your head and say, wait a minute, what happened? And, you know, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get right to it right now with the fifth-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish against the Northern Illinois Huskies. Of course, we're going to give Northern Illinois a nice round of applause. How exciting for them. You know, folks, I watched this game because I'm about as anti-Notre Dame as it gets. And I saw a game that I could only have dreamt of. Watching the Huskies that were on the money line plus 2,000, basically a 20-1 shot to win the game at South Bend. Notre Dame was minus 10,000. So basically what that means, folks, is you put up 100 to win $1. Yeah, that's right. 100 to win $1. They were minus 10,000. Because, you know, if you're minus 105, 100, 105, whatever, that basically is even money. Now, if you add a zero, well, that makes it, you put up $10 to, or better yet, you put up $100 to win $10. So 10,000, you put up $100 to win $1. Oh, yeah, folks. And so it turned out that 28-point spread against the Northern Illinois University Huskies, it actually blew up in the face. Vegas and all the books out there, boy, they made a ton of money on this game. It was one of those games that you just shake your head. If you're a bettor, say, how the hell did my team lose when they were essentially a one, let's put, you know, again, you're putting up 10,000 to win 100. You're a 1 to 100 shot, not a 100 to 1 shot. So basically, you would win 99 out of 100 games that they played. Well, guess what? This was the first time these two ever played. So show me the money! It happened that it was Northern Illinois on the winner side. And this was a 16-14 game. And let's face it, Notre Dame got out to an early lead in the first. and they found themselves marching down the field for a 7-0 win, or 7-0 lead. But shortly thereafter, it was Ethan Hampton passing the ball to Ontario Brown for an 83-yard touchdown, and that's the extra point was made, so it was tied at 7. Then Northern Illinois kicked a 42-yard field goal to take the lead after the end of 1. Then they kicked another field goal, a 21-yarder, so they drove right down the field again, and they kicked a field goal. And so it took all the way until midway through the third for Notre Dame to get themselves a touchdown and the lead 14-13 once again for the second time. And then it took a field goal at the end of the game for Northern Illinois to win the game. It was a 35-yard field goal. But that wasn't the story. The story is the way it was officiated. And folks, look, we've all seen games, and I got to tell you, I've seen games, many a game for many decades. And what we saw, and what I saw clear as day, this is my opinion, and of course I can give it, you know where I'm going with this. I saw the referees make every possible accommodation to Notre Dame that they possibly could have. All the way down to, I mean, it was embarrassing, in fact, all the way down to the final drive of the game. Northern Illinois was driving, and the reason they ended up kicking a 35-yard field goal attempt was because the referees seemed to say, after the carrier was handed the ball, that the first down wasn't made from the handoff from Northern Illinois. Well, it turns out, even after replay, it showed that the ball carrier, not only did the ball go across the first down marker before a knee went down, but the whole body, except for his feet, his toes, were actually past the first down marker. And so really, what did we see? What we saw was all the way through the game a bunch of bad calls against Northern Illinois, and it was embarrassing for the referees. But even the referees' help couldn't help Notre Dame from winning the game. And I have to say, even the on-air broadcasters, after that fourth down call, or that third and 1, or whatever the hell it was, even the broadcaster was like, hey, wait a minute, that's a first down. I mean, everybody could see on the replays, you could see it was a first down. Everybody saw it, apparently, except those guys that were getting paid in stripes on the field. I mean, look, folks, they are cheating, in my opinion, in plain sight. So those that had the money line on that football game in the first place, look, you had to put up an astronomical amount of money, kind of like this minus 10,000. Frankly, I don't think I've ever seen a minus 10,000 on the board. Put up $100 to win $1. I mean, who would make that bet anyway? I don't know. I guess if the numbers are big enough, maybe you're putting up, I don't know, $1 million to win $10,000, right? Or you're putting up $10 million to win $100,000, right? Put up $100 million to win $1 million. I don't know. The point is, in all of this, the referees slanted that game, as I saw it, in the worst possible way. And the money is the embarrassing part. Because you say, wait, they paid Northern Illinois University, being Notre Dame, paid them $1.5 million just to come into South Bend and play the game. Not only that, they lost the game. That always deserves an enormous round of applause. And I have to say, Northern Illinois blew off they blew Notre Dame's offensive and defensive linemen off the ball through the game. Northern Illinois controlled the line of scrimmage, and yes, I know you're sitting in Alabama or Florida or Southern California, Hawaii, saying, why the hell are we talking about this? Because it seems like Notre Dame has their own network, and that would be, it seems to be the Notre Dame Broadcasting Company, or NBC, because all their games are on NBC. But to me, it just shows that there is such favoritism to certain institutions who never get called for cheating or violations of this or that. Tell me, some of these universities have had habitual issues with booster cheating over the decades, but never have been allegedly busted for it. And you wonder, How come certain universities have never had that problem? Almost like the golden boy. You know, people think that Shohei Ohtani didn't gamble and whatnot. My opinion is that Shohei Ohtani absolutely gambled, and Rob Manfred being of course I'm changing gears on you, Rob Manfred being the commissioner of Major League Baseball couldn't possibly, in my opinion, have anything negative happen to baseball's golden boy. So they said, in my opinion, you know what? We didn't see nothing. But, you know, rumor has it that Ohtani met his interpreter who allegedly took the $5 million. He met him allegedly on a 5-day gambling spree here in fabulous Las Vegas. I don't know if that's true, but that's a widely spread rumor, and some people believe it's true. So my point is, there's favoritism. And I believe that Notre Dame gets a great amount of favoritism from the NCAA, from pick your favorite channel on television or radio. And I think that they are the NCAA's version of what I just described Shohei Ohtani as. And so I don't like it. I think Ohtani is a good ball player. He's certainly not the best ball player in baseball. But I believe that Notre Dame gets every accommodation. But guess what? This time it was Northern Illinois. It was the Huskies beating Notre Dame on their own turf at their own game. And what a glorious, glorious event that was. We're going to get into the other college games in just a moment, folks, when we come back and break. But this was a fun story. I hope you enjoyed it, because I sure as hell did. Back in a few.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC Sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes, are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from fabulous Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by the Sports Circus. Make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our record shows, and all of our shows are stored on the podcast platform of Amazon, Apple, Audible, iHeart, Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, you name it, we're there. You can't get away from us. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners there as well. We'll talk about those on the next break. And a big thanks for everybody tuning in on all of our CBS, NBC, Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHK. That's home of the San Francisco 49ers, the New York Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome to everybody else up and down the West Coast, all the way over to Denver, Chicagoland, down to Texas, over to Alabama, WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for joining us over there in Auburn, Alabama, as well as Atlanta, Georgia. That would be WDJY 99.1 FM, plus everybody else up and down the East Coast, from Miami all the way up to Maine on all of our network and independent affiliates. Everybody that carries us, thanks for carrying us. Everybody on Chicago Food Favorites, thanks for joining us there. That's on Facebook. Check it out, Chicago Food Favorites. And it's a lot of fun, folks. I'm actually the administrator for it. I put it together just for fun, and it is just for fun. There's no money. It's just fun. Talk about your favorite foods, your favorite recipes, your favorite everything. Hell, I just posted a really cool lemon coconut cookie recipe, believe it or not. What does that have to do with the city? Absolutely nothing, except the fact that people in the city are probably eating those cookies. Anyway, all right. Thank you. Thanks for that applause. All right, so back to college football. I had a great story, and it was a little bit more than just a score about Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame on that literal 100-1 shot. And what a great thing. What a great thing. And you know what I didn't like about it from the betting side is that if you bought the 28 points and took Northern Illinois, you would have only got 20-1, which seems like a big number. But if you bet it the other way, this is called an 80-cent line, folks, which basically, actually, it's more than an 80-cent line. It is typically out of 100%. If it's 20% one way, 80% the other, the spread was really significant. I mean, putting up $100 to win $1 versus putting up $1 to win $20. You see the disparity there. You got to watch that, folks. If you're betting online with all these, pick your favorite organization. I won't name them because they don't pay me. But pick your favorite casino or your favorite betting venue. You got to watch the line on whether you're betting for a team or betting for the other team. Because, for example, if a lot of this is a typical case, if the point spread is almost nothing, like a picket, right? So it's a half a point either way or something. You'll see one team, for example, is minus 105. So you put up 105 to win 100. That's typical. And then the other side, you'll see it at maybe minus 125, right? So minus 125. So you put up 125 to 100. So that is a 20-cent line. So 20 cents is basically the difference between per dollar, 125 minus 105, or 20 cents, right? And the Northern Illinois line was ridiculous. Again, it was 100-1 versus a payoff of 20-1, which is complete lunacy. But my point is, you got to watch those lines and pick your favorite betting venues. Look, you have choices out there, whoever it is, but you've got to find the one that has the narrowest betting line. So in some cases, you'll see it'll be minus 105 at one place on one team, and the other team maybe it'll be minus 115, and that's typically what it ought to be, a 10-cent line. So those are getting harder and harder to find. Finding a 15-cent line is even harder too, which means basically the house makes more money no matter what. And that is the problem. That's why this is important. So you're basically getting burnt on your money for extra money. You're paying the casino extra money, whether it's a 20-cent line or a 25-cent line. I've seen them as high on a regular basis as 30-cent lines. And that's not really fair to the bettors out there. So do some shopping around and find out which places that you place your bets, if you are a gambler on sports, find out which one has the closest line between them. If you know what I mean. Just if you didn't get that, go back and hit record or hit replay and just rewind just a little bit, maybe about 2 minutes or so on this from this point, and you'll get exactly what I said. We can't spend all day in it, but I'll tell you what, that's something that will save you a lot of money down the road. All right, college football scores, and it was Indiana with another big win against the Leathernecks of Western Illinois. It wasn't even close. I mean, Indiana dropped 77 on a team, I think, for the first time ever. It was Brigham Young with a nice win at SMU over in the greater Dallas area. And, of course, it took Duke a couple of overtimes to beat Northwestern on their own turf in Evanston, 26-20. Nice round of applause for the Duke Blue Devils. Yes! The Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, well, guess what? They beat the Akron Zips. I don't know about that, Zips. 49-17. You know, I would probably consider, I don't know what the origin of Zips is, but I would consider, just from an athletic standpoint, I would consider maybe renaming that squad, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I mean, it seems like they haven't won a football game in a very long time. They're not very good in athletics as far as the major sports go, as I see it. Maybe they may want to, I don't know, change it. You know, Gonzaga's got, they're the Bulldogs, but they also call them the Zags. Right? I mean, I don't know. What would you call Akron? The Crons? I don't know, but anything but Zips as I see it. Anyway, moving on, it was Syracuse at home in a tough game against Georgia Tech, a very, very much improved Georgia Tech team. Now, they're getting back to the old Georgia Tech that we knew from back in the day. So the greater Atlanta market, they've got themselves a college football team again in the ACC, but they did lose 31-28 in a very good game up in Syracuse, New York. Oak State, number 13 ranked Oak State, in a very exciting game. It took 2 overtimes for Oak State to beat Arkansas, and that was a Big 12 SEC matchup, and that one, the Big 12 came out on top 39-31. Texas, this was the trap game of trap games, folks. If you looked at the betting line prior to the game, Michigan was a 7.5-point underdog at home. Now, that doesn't happen very often. 7.5-point dog, and that said, everybody bet Michigan. Everybody take the 7.5. Well, guess what? It was Texas, the number 2 Texas Longhorns, blowing out Michigan at the Big House, 31-12. That's unbelievable. It's a complete destruction. By the way, speaking of destruction, Minnesota 48, Rhode Island 0. Penn State, number 8, ranked Penn State over Bowling Green in a tough game over Happy Valley, 34-27. Pitt edges out the Bearcats of Cincinnati 28-27 at Cincinnati. The men of Troy fall to Memphis 38-17. 14th ranked Kansas State Wildcats, a very good squad, in a tough game down in New Orleans against Tulane, but they do come away 34-27. UConn, no problem over Merrimack. Army over Florida Atlantic. The Owls drop, yes, yet another game. This time to Army, 24-7. Texas A&M, no problem with McNeese. Ball State, 42. Missouri State, 34. Tennessee Tech gets murdered by Georgia, 48-3. But Tennessee Tech did cover, by the way. So, of course, show me the money! If you bet on them. Kent State loses at home to St. Francis of Pennsylvania. The Red Flash, 23. Golden Flashes, 17. Battle of the Flashes. UNLV beats up poor old Utah Tech, 72-14. Doesn't make them a good team. It just means they beat up on a nobody. Michigan State on the road and a good win at Maryland, 27-24. Carolina 38. Charlotte, the 49ers 20. BC blanks Duquesne 56-0. Iowa State, I watched this one. Iowa State 20. Iowa 19. Iowa State kicker, ice in the veins, a freshman kicker. Really, really good kicker. Wisconsin 27, South Dakota 13, and a very good game. That's a little bit shocking. Toledo, the Rockets 38, UMass 23, Huskies of Washington 30, Eastern Michigan 9. Kentucky gets murdered by South Carolina 31-6 at Lexington. The Golden Bears on the road at Auburn. Unfortunately, of course, we're going to give a round of boos to this one because Auburn should have won this game 21-14. And, of course, War Eagle, come on, let's go. You can do better than that. Utah comes away 23-12 with a win over Baylor in their Big 12 debut. And it was Iowa, or better yet, it was Idaho 17, Wyoming, the Cowboys 13, Louisville 49-14 over Jacksonville State. The Midshipmen over Temple 38-11. We already talked about Northern Illinois with a big win at South Bend. Texas State 49, UTSA, that's a very poor showing, 49-10 losing against Texas State. Ole Miss, no problem with Middle Tennessee. Vatech, easy over Marshall. The Hurricanes of Miami, all over Florida A&M. West Virginia, same with Albany. Ohio Bobcats over South Alabama. Very entertaining game. James Madison, the Dukes over Gardner-Webb, the running Bulldogs, 13-6. Florida International, easily over Central Michigan, a big shocker there. East Carolina with a win at Old Domino. The Monarchs fall 20-14. Sam Houston smashed by University of Central Florida. Wake Forest, in a shocker at home, loses to Virginia. Missouri, no problem with Buffalo. That's a real tough loss for Buffalo. They're actually better than 38-0. Illinois over Kansas. That was an entertaining game, 23-17. Arkansas State over the Golden Hurricanes of Tulsa, 28-24. Georgia Southern 20. Nevada 17. Stanford 41-7. Easy over Cal Poly. Florida over Samford. Alabama, no problem with South Florida. Rice murders Texas Southern. San Jose State with a very good win at Air Force. Colorado State all over Northern Carolina, or Northern Colorado. Louisiana Monroe wins. Southern Miss 35-10. Western Kentucky over Eastern 31-0. Coastal Carolina big over William Mary. Georgia State with a nice win. The other winners are Tennessee, Nebraska, Ohio State, Vanderbilt, LSU, North Texas, Oklahoma, Clemson, TCU, Southern Utah, Arizona, Oregon, Washington State, Fresno State, Liberty, Arizona State, Oregon State, and USC. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus. Don't go anywhere. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your blood sugar. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. Apply a discrete sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger sticks. If you are living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you might be eligible for a CGM through your insurance benefits. U.S. Med partners with over 500 private insurance companies and Medicare. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill your insurance. Call us today for a free benefits check.
800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
To the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from fabulous Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out, folks, at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. Streaming, you know who you are. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Make sure you like and follow and participate. Have some fun there. And, of course, make sure you follow the Sports Circus on all social media mediums as well. Even on Instagram, we are TSC Show. On Facebook, we are Sports Circus FB. And the FB is for Facebook, of course. And even on X, formerly Twitter, you could find us at The Sports Circus, at The Sports Circus. All right, back to college football, back to these rankings. No surprise on top is Georgia, number one, getting 54 of the 63 votes at 2-0, previous rank one. Of course, Texas goes up one slot from 3-2 with their big win at Ann Arbor. Ohio State goes from 2-3 because they beat a nobody, but Texas, of course, beat their biggest enemy, of course, over in the big house. Alabama stays the same at number 4 with 1,331 total points. Ole Miss, a solid number 5, goes up from number 6 to 5. Missouri, a very good Missouri squad. Watch out for those guys, folks. Man, they can play some defense. Missouri getting 1,125 in the total points and go from 9 last week to 6 this week. Tennessee jumps up from 14 to 7 with a nice win. Penn State stays the same at 8. Oregon, I'm going to get to that Oregon game right now. I'll tell you what, Oregon's at number 9. They were number 7. Listen, Oregon, they did play Boise State, and Boise State took them all the way to the wire, and it happened that at the end of the game, it was Oregon getting a touchdown. However, it was the proverbial let's wait until we get across the goal line before we drop the ball being the ball carrier for Oregon, because even replay showed that as right before he crossed the ball carrier was scoring the touchdown, dropped the ball. He actually dropped the ball, which technically is what? A touchback, because the other team recovered it at that point. Well, you can't do that. So technically, Oregon, as we saw on replay over and over and over, appeared to have lost the game. But for some reason, the referees couldn't allow that. Maybe that was a betting money line thing. I don't know. Because when you have instant replay available to you and you see that it was a dropped ball, clearly you have to ask yourself, show me the money! And I'll show you a victory. And that's kind of what's going on here in sports. In my opinion, again, they're cheating in plain sight. I'm not the only one saying it, folks. Believe me, it's happening everywhere. People are saying it all over, and it's widespread. And, here's the thing. Right here in Las Vegas, I ride my bicycle quite a bit. I just got back from a 20-mile ride, and riding down Rainbow Street over near Sunset, there is one of those fantasy sports companies. They have their signage on a building. And it may be their building, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, off the corner of Sunset Road and Rainbow Boulevard, there is a big building. It's actually on Sunset, just west for everybody right here in the Vegas Valley. Go ahead, drive over there. And you can see it from Sunset, and you can see it from the Interstate 215. And you'll see the name of this fantasy sports organization, and right next to it, you see the signage and the logo for the National Football League. Now, you can draw whatever conclusion you want. And I've seen the same thing in another place with a major casino and similar signage situations. And it just tells me, it's just my opinion, it tells me that the relationship between sports and betting not only is out in the open, but it just seems like, from everything that I see, that these games, man, they are remarkably compromised. And I talk about this a lot. And again, we had a Super Bowl champion and a friend of the show come on to the show, and when that person retired from playing in the National Football League, they said right here on this show on air that they went to go work for the powers that be, so to say, and the games are absolutely fixed. And that's their experience. Not me. It has nothing to do with me. They said that right here on this program. Oh, yeah. Plain as day. Clear as the blue sky. Without, of course, the chemtrails. But anyway, the point is, these games, just like this Oregon game, as I saw it, it looked to me as if it was absolutely, unequivocally fixed. And frankly, it's a little embarrassing. You know, it's remarkably embarrassing. And I just don't seem to understand how they get away with this kind of shenanigans. Oh, that's right. I think there's a simple answer to that.
Show me the money!
And I'll show you a victory. So, moving on in these rankings, it's the Miami of Florida Hurricanes, ranked number 10, jumping up 2 slots from 12. USC with another easy win. This one actually was over a fairly good defensive squad, which was sort of a conundrum. They absolutely crushed Utah State. Now, people say, well, Utah State. Well, you know, Jordan Love came from Utah State. And that team traditionally has a very good defense. But they were no match for the Trojans of USC. USC jumps from 13 to 11. Utah in their Big 12 debut. Pretty sure that is, yeah. They jumped from 11 to 12. So they actually went down the ladder of success with their win. And that was actually a very good win against a Big 12 opponent. So it was a Big 12 against a former. Nonetheless, it was Oak State from the Big 12 over the SEC Arkansas. They go from 16 to 13. Kansas State jumps 3 spots to number 14. Oklahoma stays the same at 15. LSU from 18 to 16 at 1-1. Now Michigan tumbles 7 slots to number 17. And of course, the biggest laugher out of all of these, and we'll start it with a laugh, and it's Notre Dame, dropping 13 slots with their loss to Northern Illinois. And frankly, they should have dropped right out of the rankings, losing to an unranked opponent at home. And they've never played them before, and they were 100-1 favorites, essentially. Louisville jumps up 3 spots to number 19. Arizona stays the same at 20. Iowa State, non-ranked previously, jumps into the rankings, number 21, with their win at Iowa. Clemson jumps up 3 with their win. Nebraska, non-rated, up over, we'll just call them up 2 slots. Well, actually, it was more than 2 slots. They're the number 23 spot with a real nice win over Coach Prime. Yeah, how's that working out, Dion? Boston College, non-rated, of course. Now they're ranked number 24 with a nice win. Northern Illinois jumps up into the top 25 with their win over Notre Dame. Others receiving votes. Illinois got a lot of votes. Illinois was just behind Northern Illinois. Boise State, they should have gotten that game win against Oregon. They did not, but they do get 77 votes. Texas A&M, 68. Syracuse, 63. Memphis got 38. Washington trying to climb into the top 25. Iowa, Kansas, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Liberty, Wisconsin, UNLV, North Carolina, Cal, BYU, UCF, and TCU all getting votes, but not making the top 25 either. So Look, lots of college football, but that's college football. And we think about the NFL for a moment. How about a bad sign for Monday Night Football with DirecTV as they file an FCC complaint against Disney, leaving some NFL viewers in the dark? That's right, DirecTV filed a complaint. This is, of course, Associated Press content, and this is actually everybody else. This one's directly from Yahoo, but nonetheless, everybody's got this story. And so DirecTV filed a complaint with the Federal Communications Commission alleging Disney did not negotiate in good faith as the two sides remained at an impasse on a distribution deal. And of course, a DirecTV spokesman told CNN, quote, Disney has violated the FCC's good faith mandate by predicating any licensing agreement on DirecTV's waiving any legal claim on Disney's past, current, or future anti-competitive actions, including its ongoing packaging and minimum penetration demands, close quote. Now, in the 10-page complaint, DirecTV claimed the negotiations stalled because, quote, Disney insisted on bundling and penetrating requirements that a federal district court judge in New York recently found in the context of the Venue joint venture to be unlawful, anti-competitive, and bad for consumers, close quote. Now, on August 16th, a federal judge temporarily blocked the launch of Venue Sports, a joint sports streaming venture from Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery after Fubo, a sports streaming service, filed a lawsuit against the media giants. Warner Brothers Discovery is the parent company of CNN. Now, more than 11 million subscribers have been affected by this situation. It is a disaster, but guess what? Things are going to get even worse. ESPN owns the broadcast rights to Monday Night Football, which will be blacked out for DirecTV subscribers. This story gets worse and worse as it goes on, so sorry to say that there is a mess, and somehow, magically, one of these major news outlets that we don't want to name, which we already have, but not in that context, is at the center of it. All right, fake news, back here in just a few moments here on The Circus. Don't go anywhere, lots more to come.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio. That's AAMP Television, right here in fabulous Las Vegas. A big thanks for everybody tuning in on our network affiliates, and of course all of our independents from coast to coast. Everybody else on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, and Wild Cable Television. Thanks as well for joining us, as well as also on Hotel TV in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast in all your favorite upscale hotels and resorts and all Nielsen-rated markets. And again, a big thanks to everybody over on Facebook joining us on Chicago Food Favorites. And by the way, folks, our partners page at thesportscircus.com features lots and lots of really good long-standing partners with us. One of our favorites is Al's Number One Italian Beef at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. And of course, if you're not over there, folks, you can go to alsbeef.com and check out all those tasty selections. In fact, one of those is the Italian beef big. You get a big drum or a big tub of like 2 or 5 pounds of Italian beef. And basically, folks, it's like a slow-cooked, marinated, thinly sliced roast beef sandwich. Yes, I said sandwich instead of sandwich. It is a wonderful, wonderful creation. And it's real cooking. It's not like the fried cheesesteak sandwich they have over in Philadelphia, where they basically just on a flat top grill throws a cheap cut of meat on there, put some cheese whiz on it, toss some onions and green peppers with it, and throw it on a quick bun, and you're on your way. The Italian beef sandwich, it takes up to 22 hours to make that roast beef, and it's usually a top round or bottom round, slow cooked, and then cooled, and then they have to slice it where it's almost it's not see-through, but it's like it's translucent, and then they reintroduce it back into its own juices, and oh, mercy, is it good. I tell you, folks, it is an amazing sandwich. Check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. Now, we don't get nothing for saying this. I'm just saying it because I dig it, and it's fantastic food. All right, all that said, all that groveling, maybe I'll get a free sandwich out of it somewhere. I don't know. But you know what? You know who didn't get a free ride on something? How about this? How about Tyreke Hill? This guy, arguably the fastest guy in the National Football League, and I mean, he is a good one, and I mean good. But this guy, according to the Associated Press, Tyreke Hill got detained by police before the Dolphins game, and an officer is subsequently placed on leave. What in the world? Okay, so here it is, Miami Gardens. According to the Associated Press, Tyreke Hill of the Miami Dolphins was handcuffed and placed face down on the street outside the team stadium after he was stopped for speeding and reckless driving on Sunday morning before the Dolphins' first game of the season, an incident that left star wide receiver baffled and resulted in a police officer being placed on administrative leave. And the officer, who was not identified, was one of the least 3 involved in detaining him. That's right, 3. There were 3 guys detaining him. Some fans saw Hill being handcuffed and capturing video on their way to the game, and it quickly went viral, of course, because that's what happens. Everybody's a videographer now. Now, Miami-Dade Police Director Stephanie Daniels said she had launched an internal affairs investigation, told after the game the officer was placed on leave pending the outcome of the investigation. Hill said, quote, "That should tell you everything you need to know," close quote. Oh no, I got a lot to say about this. Moving on. Added defensive tackle Calais Campbell, who was also briefly handcuffed after coming to his teammates' aid, quote, "That makes sense based on the situation," close quote. Hill, who said he respects the police officers and wants to be the one who he retires, that's what he wants to do when he retires, said he had no idea why they placed him in handcuffs. So, this is crazy. I'm just wondering. Tyreke said, quote, "I wasn't disrespectful because my mom didn't raise me that way. Didn't cuss. Didn't do none of that. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure it out, man," close quote. So Hill, of course, as you know, started on the field for the Dolphins, catching 7 passes for 130 yards, including an 80-yard touchdown run that helped Miami rally from a 2017 win over the cross-state Jacksonville Jaguars. And, of course, Hill celebrated the score by mimicking it. When he scored, he mimicked being handcuffed as well. Yeah, that's the guy. Look, frankly, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. I mean, look, Hill, who is an African-American, and he said that he wants to use his celebrity to get out the situation, but wondered what would have happened if he weren't an NFL star. I feel the same way. In fact, he said, quote, "I don't want to bring race into it, but sometimes it gets kind of iffy when you do. What if I wasn't Tyreke Hill? Lord knows what that guy or guys would have done. I was just making sure that I wasn't doing what my uncle always told me to do whenever you're in a situation like that. Just listen, put your hands on the steering wheel, and just listen," close quote. Now, Daniel said in a statement that she requested an immediate review of the details surrounding the incident, adding that the department would review available body cam footage. Now, in a later statement, Daniel said, quote, "I'm committed to transparency and accountability to the community and with any situation involving my officers," close quote. Hill said everything happened so fast, it caught him off guard. In fact, he even added, quote, "I'm just glad my teammates were there to support me in the situation because I felt alone," close quote. Campbell said he was driving into Hard Rock Stadium when he saw Hill handcuffed, and he stopped to help. The 17-year NFL veteran ended up in handcuffs as well, saying officers told him it was because he disobeyed their direct orders. Now, Campbell also said, calling the incident, quote, "a bit extreme," and said, I felt excessive force. So I got out of the car to kind of just try to de-escalate the situation, close quote. Hill, who led the NFL in receiving yards in 2023, said he spoke to his wife and family after he was detained and before the kickoff. His agent called it a, quote, "heartbreaking situation," close quote, on the Four-Letter Network. And of course, the agent said, quote, "How things escalated into the situation that they were in handcuffs and being held on the ground with police is mind-boggling to me. I'm deeply concerned about that, very troubled. We'll be looking into it. We'll be investigating this. We will look out for Tyreke, but I'm not going to make any allegations at the time. The most important thing is Tyreke is okay. Physically, mentally, he was very distraught about what happened," close quote. And of course, NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said the league has been in contact with the Dolphins, but declined to comment further. Well, look, I'm going to comment on this. And, I was talking to a former co-host on this show, and Tyrone Poole. It's Tyrone Poole. I was looking at Tyreek Hill. Tyrone Poole, a very good friend. Tyrone's like a little brother to me, and just a very good guy. And he had a situation happen in a city that to be nameless when he had moved and played for a particular team, and he got pulled over in a similar situation, whatever, I don't know. And luckily they didn't rough him up or anything like that. However, Tyrone told me that a similar situation happened to me. He told me this years ago, as a matter of fact, and we talked about it today. And it came to, certain people are profiled because they drive a particular type of car and they look a particular kind of way, that they are profiled that, hey, they must be doing something wrong, or maybe they're involved in doing something wrong or conspiring to do something wrong. In this particular case, it sure seemed as though Tyreke was just trying to get to work. Maybe he was exceeding the speed limit. Maybe he was doing whatever. Maybe he was a little bit late to work. Maybe something happened. I don't know. Not my place. I don't know. But here's what I do know. If they put him on the ground, let's think about this. First of all, his reputation on the line, right? It is a form, in my opinion, of a defamation of character. So they're challenging his character. They're making him, in the public eye, look a very particular way, which is not right. Now, let's look at it from a physical standpoint. What if, God forbid, they hurt this guy? Let's say they hurt his shoulders. What if, who knows? Maybe his body was still in shock or something. I don't know. But think about this. When people are in a car accident, they typically don't feel something until the next day or so. Well, maybe there was some kind of strain. I'm not trying to create anything. I'm just saying, what if this happened? If it happened, what if they hurt this guy's arm or his shoulders, his catching his hands or whatever? I don't know. But what if that were the case? Imagine the scope and the size of a lawsuit for arguably the top receiver in the National Football League to get roughed up, and what if they got injured? Right now, they said, of course, he wasn't injured, but we don't really know because we're not him. I don't know. He seems to be a very, very good guy, but he could have done all kinds of bad stuff, and who knows what's going to happen. But here's where it really affects everybody else. I always have this transfer where, how does it affect you and me, or how does it affect the people locally? I'll tell you how it affects the people locally. The officer or officers that did what they did very well may cost the taxpayers of Dade County or Miami Gardens, Florida, whatever it is. They may, what happens if they get sued? And if they get sued, my best guess is just a guess, it would be for a very large sum of money. Well, who has to foot the bill on this because of the police officers' poor judgment and their lack of knowledge? It's the taxpayer. The average Joe or Josephine will have to pay because it comes out of what? Tax money. And the tax money would technically at that point be misused and end up in the pocket of somebody that was done wrong. Not saying that's right or wrong, but my point is, if there was any kind of a lawsuit, every time there's a lawsuit against the city or the county or whatever, it's the taxpayers that have to pay. I guess the money comes out of the general fund. I don't know. My point is, the everyday person, for all of these people getting arrested for stupid things, maybe they ought to tie some kind of a job performance or have some kind of insurance for the police officers to guard against bad or wrongdoing, right? And it's kind of like when you have an insurance policy. I mean, look, the insurance policy, if you have a life insurance policy, it takes a couple of years for that to actually seed. Well, maybe if there was some kind of insurance policy with these officers of the law, and look, I back the Blue 100. But remember, if they do stupid things, the taxpayers have to pay. So maybe if there was some kind of insurance policy that would technically go against any wrongdoing, it's kind of like doctors and lawyers. They have, like doctors have medical malpractice insurance, that kind of thing. Well, it'd be that kind of idea. So why can't we have that for police officers? I mean, there's already enough money being spent in the counties and the states and the cities and whatnot anyway. Why not build in something to protect the taxpayers and protect the players, guys like Tyreke Hill and all the others that have been wronged? What about the people that may look a particular way, but they're judged based on their appearance? Think about that, folks. That's how this affects each and every one of us. It's 100% unfair what happened to Tyreke Hill. And frankly, I'm just glad that Tyreke is okay, and I'm glad his performance really wasn't affected, and he was able to kind of joke it off at the end with the handcuff celebration, that sort of thing in the end zone. In any event, that's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, and we'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.